If you don't think running's your thing, then this actually might be the video for you. Hi there, and if you're new to this channel, my name's Gabriel, and I've always been someone that has quite enjoyed running, but never really taken it seriously, never done it that often, gone through phases here or there where I've run for a couple of weeks and then stopped, but the majority of my cardio training or anything like that probably came through playing football or just high intensity workouts. When COVID hit and essentially the only way of getting outdoors was going to your local Sainsbury's or doing some exercise outdoor, I decided to start up running again as a habit. And for the past 6 to 8 months, I've actually run really regularly, and I've managed to find some ways that will actually make it a little bit more enjoyable for myself. And that's why I'm making this video. If you're someone that potentially is interested in running but just is never motivated to do it, then let me share with you some things that I've learned that hopefully can change your mind, give you a bit of motivation, and give you some ways to make running a much more enjoyable experience for yourself. Tip number 1 is all about running with a friend. When you go out and run with someone else, it actually makes the run seem a lot faster, especially if you're doing it a bit slow pace. You can have a chat, you can have a catch up, and it gives you that excuse to actually meet up with a friend during lockdowns when you can't go outside, you can't meet anyone else. And not only that, if you have a regular schedule to run with someone, then it gives you a level of accountability that every week you will actually go and run with that person, and there you go, it's in your schedule and you're not going to miss out on running anymore. Tip number 2 is all about getting the right gear. Whether that's the clothes, the shoes, the tech, headphones, getting the right gear can often be that thing that motivates you to go out and run. Especially if you're buying something that's a little bit nice, especially for running, that you don't want to waste by not ever using it. So if you actually go out and buy it, you're going to persuade yourself that you're not going to waste that money, you're going to go and run. And not only that, get into those clothes a couple of hours before you want to go on a run. That's literally the reason why I'm wearing this right now, because after this video I want to go on a run, and I know that unless I put on these clothes, I probably won't be bothered to do it. So actually putting on the clothes is step number 1 to getting your foot out the door and making sure that you go on that run that you plan to go on. And when it comes to getting the right headphones or earphones, I would highly recommend the Jabra 75Ts. I think they are absolutely perfect when it comes to running. And again, it's something that's a little bit expensive, but buying them basically put a level of accountability on me that if I didn't run with them, I'd be wasting a huge amount of money. So it put added pressure on, and it made sure that I actually went out and ran way more often than I wanted to. Tip number 3 is all about finding the right thing to listen to. Unless you're in that category, probably minority of people that don't like to listen to anything when they go on a run, getting the right song, podcast, playlist, audiobook could be the difference between whether or not running becomes a full-time habit for you. Listening to the right thing could be the difference between you going on a 30-minute run that feels like a 5-hour run, or going on a 30-minute run that feels like you've been out the door for 2 minutes. Because the time passes by when you're distracted by what's in your ears. So I can recommend trying out different things, maybe try out a podcast and an audiobook and see if that works for you, because finding the right thing will definitely get you into running more. Tip number 4 is something that I learned from a good friend of mine that runs a lot, and that is don't overexert yourself when you're running. When you get home after a run where you've really pushed yourself, especially if you're a beginner and you feel like you're about to collapse and die, you're probably not going to want to run ever again. So just make sure that when you're going on those runs, especially at the beginning of your running journey, I guess, make sure you're pacing yourself and that you're doing it at a speed that isn't overexerting yourself. Because at the end of the day, if you're running a 5:30-minute kilometer or a 5:20-minute kilometer, the difference isn't actually going to be that much on your health. So make sure that you're choosing the one that gets you home without feeling like you're about to die. Tip number 5 is all about mixing up your path. Now, I mentioned this in a previous video where I spoke about how I motivate myself to keep exercising. But essentially what this is all about is if you did the same route every single time you're on a run, you'll get bored, you're not going to want to do it anymore, and you'll become completely demotivated to ever go on a run again. It's so easy. Get an app online like MapRouter or RunMapper or the Nike app, or even just something like Google Maps, where you can plan out the exact routes that you want to run for the exact distances that you want to run. And shaking it up will make sure that you stay motivated and that you don't get bored of running. Tip number 6 is about tracking your runs. Now this might not be for everyone, but getting a Fitbit, a Garmin, I like to use my Apple Watch, and I think that this is a great way to keep you motivated when you run, when you can actually see the progress of your runs. Even if it's something as simple as the Nike app on your phone, which you can then strap to your arm, make sure that you're tracking what you're running and that you can see the progress. But do remember that progress comes slowly and that you shouldn't compare yourself day to day. Just look at it month after month, and that progress should motivate you to keep running. Tip number 7 is, if you're someone that gets bored from running and you just know that it's not for you, then that's absolutely fine. But there are so many ways of getting in that cardio exercise. For me, another way of doing it is playing 5-a-side or playing 11-a-side, basically playing football all the time. And those short sprints are just as useful ways. So make sure that you find the thing that works for you, because running isn't the be all and end all when it comes to cardio. Hopefully there's at least one thing that you can take away from this that will help you, remotivate you, or start you off on your running journey. And I wish you all the best. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, do subscribe to the channel, and if you could leave a like or a comment, that would be amazing as well. And I'll see you in the next video.